going on, everyone? It's Horror Master. I'm back. Yes, I know it's been a while since I've done a video. Apologies in advance. I've been busy with work and then my vacation just started. So I was like, you know what? Let me update you guys for my city collection. So last time I did the city collection was nearly, I want to say, a month ago. So this is going to be update number 7. So I can't believe I've been doing this for 7 episodes. So, you know, it's been I've been enjoying doing these videos because it actually makes me want to buy more CDs and grow as my collection keeps growing and growing and growing to the point that I'm gonna need fucking room. But this time I got a not a decent amount of stack, not a big stack, but a kind of decent stack, and the majority of these CDs that I got, a good chunk of them were given to me by my good friend Mr. Scott Reacts. If you want to follow his channel, I'll put a link in the description down below. That way you can check out his content. He does reactions. He's a wrestling guy. He's also one of my fellow co-hosts in the Shadow Code podcast. So, check that out. But I will leave a channel to the description. And thanks for Scott for sending me some of these CDs, which once I played them, they were really, really good. Even though he have had them in his storage for I don't know for how many years, maybe a good maybe 10 years or so. So they play really good. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys some of my CDs, and also I'm gonna talk about the Left to Die concert that I went to. I want to say about maybe a week ago, and kind of a review of the show. So let's get into it. So the first album that I have was actually a gift given to me by my good buddy Levi, aka Trashman99, who just randomly, I checked in the mail. He told me, "Go check your mail," and I was like, "Okay." I checked in the mail, and once I got in the mail, got a package, and it was from somewhere in Houston. And when I opened the package, I was like, "He did not just did this," and by the kind of his heart, he sent me Blood Red Throne Monument of Death, their debut album, which is a extremely hard album to find since I don't think they Hammerheart has released it, so it's only like the first edition copy. So it was shocking to me that he was able to find it for me for what he told me it was a decent price, which was more less than what he paid when he exported from somewhere, I think from Europe or Argentina when he bought it. I don't remember where he bought it from, but it was a really, really amazing gift that he bought me because I've been trying to find this album for a long time, especially after we interviewed Gunther and the Horseman podcast. Been diving more into Blood Red Throne, and to have their debut album finally in my possession was a really, really awesome. I mean, we have songs like Portrait of Killer, Pass of Flesh, Malignant Nothingness. Basically, Blood Red Throne is the Norwegian Cannibal Corpse. That's like the best way I can describe Blood Red Throne if you have never ever listened to them. Next up is an album that I bought at my local second in Charles, which is where I usually buy a lot of CDs nowadays. Of course, I go through a lot of shops and but a good chunk of my collection lately has been going through second in Charles, and sometimes it's a hit and miss. Sometimes you find some good gems. For example, this one I'm going to talk about is Blue October's Foiled. Now, if you know who Blue October is, good for you. If you don't, it's okay. Blue October is a kind of alternative rock band somewhere in, I think they're from Houston, Texas, somewhere around there, around the Houston, Dallas, Austin area. And this album, I remember when I was like probably 14 years old going to Houston, just randomly going to Houston, visiting some of my uncles and aunts, and then, I told my dad can I switch the station and to the rock station over there, and the song "Hate Me" from the album popped up, and I was like, oh my god, this is so powerful. And then when I found out they're from Texas, I was like, I gotta listen to more of this album, and it has been in custom rotation for a long time to the point that when Justin Furstenfeld came to my hometown of Laredo back in what did I say, 2017, 2018, when it was doing his solo acoustic tour, I was able to meet him, and he was able to sign my concert ticket. Of course, I wasn't able to take a picture with him, but he was nice enough to sign my concert ticket, which was pretty awesome. But this album is a good alternative modern-ish rock album. If you're more into the more not heavy side but more emotional side, because Justin Forsterveld really does has had problems with substance, and he usually puts those experiences into his work, and you can really feel the pain and the sadness and what he has gone through. I mean, the song "Hate Me," probably their most favorite song, most infamous song. Of course, they have other songs as well. Of course, when you have "What If We Could," "Into the Ocean," "Overweight," "Sound of Pulling Heaven Down." It's a journey with Sunday which you will really enjoy. So if you have not heard of Blue October, listen to Foiled. Another album that I was able to get on Amazon is, of course, and this is a Def Doom album, which if you haven't seen the Def Doom episode we did on the Horseman podcast, you know I am a huge Def Doom guy. So when I was doing research for that episode, I was able to discover some bands, and there were some bands that I already knew, but it's been a while since I re-listened to them, preparing for that episode. And one of those bands that I re-listened once again and fell in love with more was Hamford, which they're from the Balearic Islands. I think a small island somewhere near the coast of. I don't know my geographic, but it's an island, and of course their style is Def Doom, but really somber, really depressing, but at the same time beautiful. And I was like, you know what, I need to snatch what other albums. So I was able to snatch it, and forgive me if I mispronounce the album, which the album I have is called Tamsin's Like Cam. Even the album cover to me was like kind of weird, almost demon like, because I mean, look at it, it's like it's getting a fucking exorcism. But once you dive into the album, it's a whole different thing of its own. Of course, it has the traditional melodic Def Doom stuff that I love to death, no pun intended. And you know, if you have never heard of this band, this is a great album for to start. Like when you have songs like, and again, I'm sorry for the mispronunciation, the Stigdid, Forcerhar, Honsisted, Viper and Anda, Flexing Drum. Basically, it's just 6 songs, a whole album, which is probably 45 minutes long. I think the longest song is like maybe 9 minutes in length. So it's a bit of a long song, but if you have the time to spin this album, go for it. You will instantly enjoy it, especially if you love like the more Def Doom kind of style like I do. Now we're getting into some albums that my good buddy Scott was able to, give me to add to my collection. And the first one, which I'm happy I finally have an album of this band, because I've been trying to find the original pressings of these albums, because the remasters, I've heard them, they're kind of shit, in just my opinion. And of course I am talking about Megadeth Countdown to Extinction. Yeah, I didn't possess a Megadeth album before, because the remasters, I've heard the remasters, they're not the best quality, which it fucking sucks. And I've been trying to find the original releases of the album, because I think the original releases of the album are better in quality, better in sound. The drums aren't as loud, aren't as, not well produced in the remasters, if I that's the best way I can say it. With the original releases, they're better, to be honest. And when he was able to tell me that he had this, I was like, I told him, give that to me, because again, I've been trying to find original pressings of the Megadeth albums, of the early Megadeth albums, because if you try to find them in Discogs or in eBay, they're not the cheapest albums to find. I mean, if you're lucky, you can find probably one at a decent price. But Countdown to Extinction, I mean, it was the album that really helped Megadeth in 1992 go to number 2 in the charts, back then when it mattered. And of course, the famous story that Dave was trying so hard to surpass Metallica in 1992, and of course they were on number 2 in the Billboard charts, and number 1 was unfortunately the Black Album. I mean, why is it unfortunately? The Black Album was fucking awesome, but in terms of that rivalry for Dave, it was unfortunate, because he wanted to be number 1 instead of being always number 2. But I mean, it's Countdown to Extinction. It's a classic among Megadeth albums. When you have songs like Symphony of Destruction, probably one of their most infamous songs that they still play live. Sweating Bullets, Captive Honor, Skin of Teeth, the title track, Foreclosure of a Dream. You know, for a lot of people, give Megadeth shit for the thing with Dave. I mean, give Dave a break, okay? I mean, it's kind of the extinction. I mean, and that album cover, it's fucking amazing. But yeah, I was finally happy to find some Megadeth finally in my possession. Next up is another Death Doom album that I was happy to finally find after, I want to say, 4 years. I've been trying to find this album for a while, and I was happy to find a decent copy in Discogs for maybe $20. So I was really happy about that. And that album is, of course, Morning Beloved with the Sullen Suckers. Same thing I said about Hamford. I mean, I love my melodic Death Doom, and with Morning Beloved is same melodic Death Doom, but it has more of a progressiveness to it. And this album is not that old. I mean, it's old in terms that came out back in 2000, 2003. So at the time, it was an album that wasn't really looked up. But as years went by, people started to snatch it and see how of a great album it is. Of course, almost like The Mantle, they happened the same thing when an album came out. It wasn't really listened to as much, but as time went by, people started to snatch it. And of course, this album was one of those albums. And of course, this is a Norwegian, I think, I don't know, Irish Death Doom band, and of course, was released in Norway. Yeah, the production was released in Norway, and to me, one of the best Death Doom songs, of all time. The World That Crawled, just the intro of it. It kind of reminds me of like the start of an old 30s movie. And then the guitars thrown in the vocals, the guttural vocals, and you have some clean vocals, and then you have some spoken chants into it, which it all adds up into this amazing atmosphere that this album brings. Of course, their later work and the work after beforewards is still amazing, but to me, if there is one album that I associate more beloved, it has to be this one. Probably, in my opinion, their best album. Um, and I think the next couple of albums, except for one, are the rest of the albums that I got from my good buddy Scott. So the next one is No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, it's Ozzy Osbourne. No matter what, it's gonna be always Ozzy. I mean, he's the fucking Prince of Darkness. One of the godfathers of heavy metal. You know, of course, Mr. Tinker, Desire, Mama, I'm Coming Home, No More Tears, Hellraiser, Zombie Stop. What more can I have to say about Ozzy Osbourne? The other one that I was given to me by Scott is another band. A lot of people are shocked that I don't have any of this band, especially me being a Texan. Pantera, Far Beyond Driven. Yeah, I didn't have any Pantera until now, which again I told him give me that. I needed to have some Pantera, which I will eventually get more Pantera in the future. That's a given. But especially with the whole reunion thing, well, quote unquote reunion, the whole discussion came up, and you know what? And I'm gonna give my 2 cents about it. You know, I think they should do the reunion, even though yes, it's not Pantera without, Vinny and Dimebag, but they have Zach Wild, which is a good substitute. I mean, nobody can replace Dimebag. Zach Wild is a great substitute to kind of keep the legacy of Pantera. In person drumming, Charlie from Anthrax is a good choice too. But beyond that, Far Beyond Driven was one of the albums that at first wasn't really heard as much as something like maybe Colors from Hell or Vocal Play of Despair. But it has some killer tracks. Hell, even to me, the standout album that always comes to mind, there's only 2 songs that come to mind. Of course, when you have 5 Minutes Alone, great track. But their cover Black Sabbath's Planet Caravan, like they take that into a whole different world. Like they make it their own, kind of like how Johnny Cash took Hurt from the Nine Inch Nails and made it their song. This is one of those exceptions as well, when they took a song and they did it in their own way, and it made the song even better, to the point that, you know, I enjoy now the original version, but the cover version, it's a bit more superior, which not doesn't happen a lot. With the cover is more superior, which you can check the Horseman podcast where we did the cover songs back in the old. This is the Horseman podcast, and that was episode 2. So go check that list out. And again, I'm happy if I have some Pantera in my collection. Eventually, I will get more in the future. Another one that I got from a good buddy Scott, and it's second to last album from what he gave me was, of course, Pink Floyd, "Wish You Were Here." Of course, me being the big Pink Floyd fan, I have a Pink Floyd poster, which you can't see. It's not in the camera. It's literally on that side of the wall. Like, I got my Nirvana, I got my Beatles, and right here is my Pink Floyd poster. And of course, I mean, it's Pink Floyd. What more can you have to say? I mean, "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," "Wish You Were Here," "Welcome to the Machine." It's Pink Floyd. I mean, there's nothing you can say wrong about Pink Floyd. Just put this album whenever you're in a calm state of mind, want to relax, you're some buddies drinking some beers, even though I don't drink, but just put it on and let the strings of David Gilmour flow through your veins, and just so good. Another album, actually not really, it's more of an EP slash demo that finally got a reissue after years of getting this hyped in the underground, which is kind of tied up to the whole, to Death Doom, and one of the pioneers of the Finnish Death Doom in the early 90s. Of course, I'm talking about Ripicolio with Musta Ceremonia. Of course, this was released, I mean, the original pressing was released back in the early 90s, so it became a bit of an underground cult classic. And of course, Savada Records thankfully reissued this album back in, I don't remember when they reissued this. I want to say maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, 2021. Yeah, 2021. So a year ago, they finally reissued this. So, for me, fans of being Death Doom and wanting to get more underground Death Doom albums, it was a refresher to finally get this into possession. And, it's Ripicolio, one of the probably big 5 of finished Death Doom or death metal in general, or even doom metal if you want to count it. But I was happy to finally add this in my collection. And the last album that I got in the entire collection, and the last album that my good buddy Scott gave me, is, of course, Sepultura, Chaos AD. I mean, when you have a song like Refuse, Resist, Amen, Propaganda, Biotic's Godzilla, Manifest, The Hunt, Slave New World, it's Sepultura. To me, Sepultura is from Morbid Tales to Roots. No disrespect to what happened, the later work. It's enjoyable at times, but it's not the same without the Calavera brothers. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not the same. So to me, from Morbid Visions to Roots, it is the epitome Sepultura, consistent album. Even though Roots, some people might say it's the worst of them all, which Roots is it's fucking amazing, But Chaos AD, what more can I say? So that does it for the collection update. Now I want to talk about a bit about my experiences with the Left to Die show. So the Left to Die show was the show that I went to, was the last show of the tour. I'll probably put up a poster of the show, or maybe the tour dates, I don't know, depending on what I do. And the show was gonna start around shit, I'm forgetting now. Was gonna start around 8:20. So I got there around maybe 7:30, 7:45. They're to the Cold Brew Bar, which is in. If you've never been to Laredo, it's a downtown in Trujillo Street. There's the Cold Brew Bar, and of course, it's not the biggest venue. It's a bar which has a little stage on it, which um, bands perform. This is where where I saw Soulfly. Is where I saw. Who else did I see? The Cold Brew. Of course, the Michael Grace from the Misfits, but that was in a different location. Same bar, different location. But I get there around 7:45. Talk to some of my friends who were there, or some of my friends I haven't seen in a long time. They were there waiting for, of course, Left to Die. Of course, it's fucking Left to Die. I mean, former bandmates from Death, of course, Rick Ross, which a lot of people might be like, Ricky, aren't you gonna sound sort of like a hypocrite later in a bit? Yes, but yes, hold on there. Of course, Terry Butler was there. Of course, he was the bassist, and of course, the other members of the band, which I am forgetting their names. I mean, I am literally forgetting their names at the moment. So, give me just a second. I'm having a brain fart now. Give me just a second. Left to Die. Shit. I am having a brain fart about now. Here we go. And the vocalist was, of course, Matt Harvey, which was from former Exhumed and Gruesome. And with drummer was Gus Rios from Gruesome fame. So they formed Left to Die. And the tour was, of course, it was Left to Die with, again, I'm having a brain fart right now. So give me just a second, guys. Just find the information. I want to give the information as, accurate as I can, just to, I guess, say that I did it. It was with, of course, Skeletal Remains and Mortuas. So Mortuas opened the show, and no disrespect to Mortuas, but their sound was kind of shit. I mean, it was really distorted. I mean, they play really well, but it was kind of distorted to the point that I enjoyed it, but not to the point that it was unenjoyable. I mean, great band. Check them out, but their sound was so distorted, so loud. Not, of course, it's a metal music, but it was to the loud that it's really uncomfortable to listen to and enjoy it. That was the only criticism I have from their set. Skeleton Remains started their set, they were able to get their sound, which was a much better sound. The pit was crazy. I mean, of course, people were going nuts. It was a great atmosphere. And of course, after they ended the set, Left to Die started to put their set ready to go. And before, actually, I forgot this. While Mortis and Skeleton Remains, and before the show started, Rick Ross, of all people, was going up and down, going outside, going inside, kind of helping out with everything, which, it's kind of odd to me when a man of his fame, helps out with the bands, with the set, with checking everything all right, which he's, people are usually, that kind of fame usually just backstage. He was going up and down, shaking hands with people, meeting fans, and I was able to, meet him and take a picture with him, which, I'm really happy about it. And again, that goes to the whole in my hypocrite, because you all know my history with Rick Ross and what he did when Massacre was supposed to come here, which, it's not good to hold grudges. So that's how the bridge now. Rick Ross and I are in good terms. So that was really shocking for me to see Rick Ross, all over the place. So Left to Die is gonna start the set, which Left to Die did the entire Leprosy album with some Scream Bloody Gore songs, which I think some of them were Zombie Ritual, Baptized by Fire, and the last one, I think, and there was another one I remember, and of course they ended their set with Evil Dead. And it was a fucking amazing show. I was front row, because it's fucking, it was Left to Die. And after the show, I was able to meet with Rick Ross. and he was able to sign my Leprosy album. And then I was able to beat the rest of Left to Die, and the one that I really wanted to meet was Terry Butler, because it's Terry fucking Butler, and I wanted him to sign my Leprosy album. I almost didn't meet him because I was almost on my way out until he just randomly came out of the backstage into the venue, started talking to people, shaking hands, taking pictures, and I told him, I met him, shake his hand, told him I'm a fan, took a picture of him, and he signed my Leprosy album, which I have right here. So I am really, 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 really happy that both Ross and Terry were able to sign my CD. Of course, let me just take it out of the CD case so y'all can see a bit better the signatures. And with Rick Ross, if you see it kind of weird, it's because he tried to do it with pen and it wasn't showing that well, and he got a Sharpie and he did it kind of in between the pen, which kind of, it's kind of cool. You can't really notice it, but it's kind of cool. And with Terry Butler, that's his signature right there, which again, I was really happy that both Terry and Ross were able to sign my Leprosy CD. And of course, I'm not, unfortunately, Chuck is no longer with us, so I won't be able to get his signature. But the only person left to sign my Leprosy album is gonna be, of course, Bill Andrews, which unfortunately he lives in Japan, but hey, a man can dream. So, Bill, if you're out there, if you ever come to the States or to Texas, I want you to sign my Leprosy CD too. So I can have all three out of the four who played in Leprosy. And that does it for this video, guys. I hope you guys really enjoy this little kind of update. I know I've been out of the YouTube round for a while, and I apologize for that. My next rank 'em all, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, it's gonna be actually on Death. So expect that rank 'em all to be probably in the next week or so. I've been listening to Death like crazy after seeing Left to Die. I've been watching the documentary like crazy, so I'm in my Death zone right now. So if you guys really enjoy that rank 'em all, follow me on my Instagram, follow me on my Twitter. That way you can see my updates, see the collections, the behind the scenes of what I do. And again, hope you guys enjoy this video, and until next time, stay metal.